You purring? Why don't you come out and sit with me? Hey friends, so I'm sitting in my closet because this is the time of day when Chloe hangs out in my clothes. It's just something she's always done. I wanted to come on and talk about what we just went through with her health, and maybe if you have ever have a situation like this, it could save your cat's life. We did almost lose her about 8 weeks ago. So starting at the beginning, 2 years ago, she started vomiting almost, I would say 5 days a week, once a day. And so she was taken to the vet. She had blood work, ultrasound. Let's show her because she's cuter. So she had all kinds of workups, everything she needed. And at the time, she was 11, so she's 13 now. So considered an older cat. She, I just love her. So at the time, we were told that older cats have developed stomach issues, that cats just throw up. I heard that many times. So over 2 years' time with other vet visits, so she actually did miss, she probably was about 6 months late for a vet visit during COVID because, she's my baby. I don't want to stress her out and have to send her into the vet by herself without me. And she was fine other than she still consistently vomited. And so we took her to the vet a little over 2 months ago before we moved because we wanted to make sure she was fine and thought, well, we won't need another vet visit for a year. And she, blood work, workups, same thing. Cats throw up all the time. Other than that, really, really looked healthy. So we proceeded with our normal life. And we did notice over the last 2 years that she was not as active. She wasn't playing as much. She still hung out with us a lot. That's kind of like her big thing, is she spends all her time with us. And we didn't notice anything that we didn't attribute to her just getting older. There her goes. Why don't you come sit with me? Come here. I don't, because this is about you. Yeah. Will you sit on my lappy? So, we moved and she's traveled with us. Normally, she's not one to hide when we have moved. We had moved her several times, but it had been a while. We've taken her on vacations. She's fine as long as she's with us, right? I might talk about you. So we didn't expect the move to do anything drastic to her, but she hid for 2 weeks. She hid under our comforter. And we just kind of thought, well, we took away all her little places in our other house, so this is gonna be her place. We didn't think she was hiding to die, because that's what cats will do. They'll hide when they're dying. And so she, still vomiting 5 times a week, eating, we watch everything she does. I work from home, so I see everything she does. Then one night, she threw up 5 times, and then the next day barely ate. So not good. We called the vet. That was a Thursday. That was a Friday. They could not see her till Monday. So I took the appointment. Then that night, she threw up 7 times. And then in the morning, she was weak. And she was walking, but just not like strong. Just, you know your pets. You know when they're not right. And hi, beautiful. So I called the vet and insisted that, if we can't get in, I got to call somewhere else. I got to get her in today. And there was a fee, but we took her in. So they did an x-ray and so she had just had blood work 2 weeks prior to, so they did not do blood work. They had the blood work sent up. And in the x-ray, they noticed, so they did a GIS x-ray. And then they noticed, because they got part of her lung in the x-ray, that the lung didn't look good. So they did another x-ray and x-rayed her lung. And at the time said they thought she had pneumonia from aspirating the vomit. And that all made sense. So they put her on a steroid and sent us home. And they also gave her an a medication. I can't think of the name of it now, but I'll put all the everything we've used in the description. Okay. So brought her home. Saturday night, she was weak. She was like terrifyingly weak. And we called the vet, and our vet, the same one who had seen her in the morning, was on call. She met me at the clinic. They put her on oxygen all weekend. They gave her nebulizer treatments. I believe they were called for a cat, same thing as they do for asthma. So Monday, she started getting better. They wanted to see her again Friday. And Friday, they saw her x-rayed again. Her lungs looked better. And so we came home Friday thinking, okay, and she hadn't thrown up in a week. So from the day they gave her the steroid, she had not thrown up. So we were giving her that every day. Anyway, so Friday we take her back in, we get a better bill of health, and we think our cat's great, our cat's on the mend. Sunday we notice her breathing really big, and I can't help but think, because I know that, so what she ended up having, which I'll talk about, I think that often it's diagnosed late and often it's missed because cats hide, or because people aren't with their cats all the time. And because we see her all the time, we just notice everything weird. So anyway, she's breathing big, lungs are big. So Monday morning, I call the vet and they said, we want to see her now. So we take her in, and this is 3 days after thinking she's on the mend and not even really realizing she was this close to death. So we take her in, and the vet tells us that normally these things do not turn out well. Often it's cancer, that so she needed to have ultrasound again. We needed to go home and make some decisions because she probably was not going to make it. So clearly we were devastated, and we come home and have a terrible afternoon. The vet calls us, we go in to get her, and the vet told us that she, no signs of cancer. They did a bunch of blood work, they did all kinds of things. And the vet wanted us to go to CSU, Colorado State University. She said she hoped we could get in because they had been shut down due to COVID. But she said that they would be better to handle the situation. And they noticed that there was stuff, I'm probably not saying it right, chylo, that was in her, in the fluid that they drained from around her lungs. Her lungs had a lot of fluid around them, not in them. So we luckily got into CSU and drove down there. We're only an hour away. And they kept her overnight. She saw an internist, had a blood panel sent to Texas A&M. And this is a lot of stuff for your average pet owner. I'm not saying I'm above average, but we're empty nesters and she's our baby. And we are in a position that we didn't have to say how much is this going to cost. And if you're in that position, then sometimes somebody else, the reason I'm making this video, the average person might have had to make the decision to put the cat down when all she really needed was a diet change and steroid, which I'm going to get to. So that my other vet missed for 2 freaking years. So not happy about that. So great doctor at CSU, Dr. CU. He was her internist, and so what he did, they drained fluid from around her lungs at our vet. They also drained more fluid. Within 2 days, I think they got 200 milliliters of fluid from around her lungs. From research I've done, One of the reasons a lot of cats don't survive this is they catch it very late. She really had no symptoms. My vet in Cheyenne, who I think is amazing, Dr. Peterson, accidentally found the fluid and followed through with it. So I have done research and found that there have been cats with up to a quart of fluid on their lungs, and then this it's just so far gone that they can't recover from it. Chylothorax is rare and it's very dangerous. And it was created by the GI issue not being handled for 2 years. Okay, but we did what our vet said, and who would know, right? So we still are not in a great situation with her. We're looking at a possible surgery that's $11,000. We were looking at lots of vet visits back and forth. Fortunately, the vet here in Cheyenne does not, charge crazy amounts of money for the weekly visits. The vet down in Castle Pines did. So anyway, lots of little things that angered me about the situation. And her just laying here right now, just happy as can be, cleaning ourselves. So anyway, so at the time we pick her up from CSU, we still don't know if she's going to make it. We don't know if she needs surgery. I don't know what the surgery looks like. I just know we want to do whatever we can for her well-being. What will be the best for her? So the internist sent blood work, did a Texas panel. They sent it to Texas A&M. They wanted to really make sure there's no cancer. A lot of times when they have the chylothorax, which is the fluid leaking from a duct around the thorax region and causing the fluid around the lungs. And I'm probably not explaining it that well, but sometimes, many times when this happens, there is a tumor or a reason causing this. So that's what they were searching for and not finding it. Chylothorax can also be, I forget what the word, idiopathic, which they don't know what causes it. But in her final diagnosis, when we talked to the surgeon, it was the GI issue that caused this. And so basically my cat was sick for 2 years. And that makes me feel like crap because I didn't know. So she was going every Friday for ultrasounds and tapping the fluid from her lungs, draining it. And started seeming to get better. We're keeping a really close eye on her, counting her breathing, making sure she's not stressed out, all kinds of things. Making sure, so the internist changed her food, put her on a low-fat food, gave her a supplement called rutin, which I actually now take because it's great for high cholesterol and it's brain health. And then they give her Fortiflora in her food. So we follow this protocol as religiously as I feed myself, we feed her. So she's seeming to get better, but they're still tapping fluid on Fridays. So my thoughts in talking to the internist is while she's still got good health, let's talk about the surgery. What is the surgery? Tell me about it. So took her to a surgery consult at CSU. In my mind, in my limited knowledge, I'm thinking it's laparoscopic, especially at $8,000 to $11,000. I'm thinking laparoscopic, few day recovery. That's just where my head goes because they can do so many things for people. However, there's not the money put into animal medicine that there is for people. And so the surgeon was amazing. The surgeon, firstly said she felt that Chloe could recover on her own with the protocol we were doing. By the grace of God, that is exactly what has happened. However, sitting there, I wanted to know what does the surgery look like? What if we go down this road? Because chylothorax can come back. So we have to maintain this level of care for her on our part religiously for the rest of her life. So to do the surgery they would have to do, if I'm explaining this properly, the doctor, they would crack her open her chest, work around her pericardium, seal off the duct. That might work. They don't do the surgery enough to know enough. 50% chance of survival in the surgery. Her age did not weigh in her favor. And even though she's lost a few pounds, she still is a couple pounds overweight. That does not weigh in her favor in surgery. So knowing that they would have to open her up like this, and that and the odds and a 6-week recovery, I sat there with the surgeon and knew I would not do this to my cat. I would not do the surgery. And they were willing to do it. They were willing to book it. They're a teaching hospital. I get that. It's what they do. So we opted to, okay, let's monitor her, keep an eye on her. But the surgeon also said, let's stop draining the fluid, because they do maintain a tiny bit of fluid around their lungs. And in tapping it, it's also causing it to continue to produce. So let's stop it, keep an eye on her, make sure she doesn't get too much. So there was like a fine line in stopping tapping the fluid. Fortunately for us, it's working. So she went for 2 more weekly ultrasounds, no tapping. Fluid is maintaining its level. There's a little bit of fluid, it's not increasing. She's playing like crazy. Her energy is back. Her attitude is back. Instead of thinking we have this old girl and attributing all of her behaviors to, oh, she's just getting old, we don't even have any thoughts like that. We're like, oh my God, she used to do that and she's doing it again. And we're excited to have our cat back. She has not, so this has been going on, I think 9 weeks today, might be 10 weeks. She's vomited 1 time. So moral of the story, however you say that, and one of the biggest things to watch for that I Googled 20 freaking times is cats throwing up all the time, cats vomiting, cats incessant vomiting. And the doctor at CSU flat out looked at me like I was crazy and said, no, cats don't throw up all the time. Cats don't throw up. Once a month, once every 6 weeks, they get a hairball. They're not going to throw up 5 times a week. If they do, there's an issue, there's a problem. It needs to be looked into further. She's on a daily steroid. She's getting better. Maybe this 17 minutes of your life you just spent with me that you can't get back, maybe this could save your cat's life. And that's the only reason I made this video. So, by no means am I qualified to diagnose anything for your pet. However, just like a human, I would suggest a second opinion. And the crazy thing is, just like I reversed my health, fixed my health with diet and nutrition and supplements, it's exactly what we did for our kitty. So, limit the treats. She doesn't eat treats, but, she was eating cat food that I'm not going to name a name because it might be fine for your pet. It might, but, try to buy the better pet food and just keep an eye on these things. And if they don't act like themselves, look into it before it gets so costly, because I know that's often when people have to put their pets down because they just can't pay the vet bill. And it's perfectly understandable. Doesn't make it less emotionally painful. So she's doing great. It's time of the morning. So she hides in both of our clothes every day. I think she just likes to mark. So it's the time to be in Daddy's clothes. She was in my clothes. And then later she'll read with me. She'll chase a toy. She'll do everything she used to do like clockwork. She's very routine. And we have our kitty back. So maybe this can help you. Have a great day.